Hello, kia ora, g'day, I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV on YouTube with your Australia-only forecast through until Sunday, recorded on Monday, the 3rd of March. Well, all eyes are on the Coral Sea at the moment. Tropical Cyclone Alfred is still there off the coast of Queensland, likely to be making landfall around the Brisbane area. At this stage, it looks like it'll be slightly northwards around places like Maroochydore, not locked in at this early stage, but that is the current thinking. And it probably will be locked in by Tuesday, certainly by Wednesday, as the cyclone starts to really come into the landfall area. At the moment, it's tracking southeast, but it's about to curve around and come in westwards. There is a lot of high pressure to the south. That is keeping many parts of Australia dry. The only sort of temperature change that we can see, the storm down here in the Southern Ocean bringing up a little bit of a westerly change for the very southwest corner. Otherwise, you're feeling the heat as you would expect for this time of the year. So let's try and make sense of things. Here we are on Tuesday. This is a remarkably quiet forecast to begin with, but things do get a little more interesting as we go along. And I'm talking about places like South Australia, Victoria, for the most part with that comment, and certainly inland parts of New South Wales. But we do see some wet weather along the eastern side of New South Wales. I'd say the ACT should be dry. You might get a spit or a spillover, generally dry though. And you've got heavier falls the further north you go, especially up towards about Brisbane. That's where you got the storm just offshore interacting with that and the high that is leaving Bass Strait. So you've got an easterly flow pushing in to that eastern side. And the easterlies carry on. They pick up a little more as you go into Western Australia because of that change with high pressure that is moving through. So those westerlies will start to turn around and come back in as southerlies and even easterlies once more. If we go through to Wednesday, the high pressure zone tracks along. Look at all the easterlies coming up. Low pressure up here in the tropics, as you'd expect. That's producing a few thunderstorms around places like Broome and further inland as well. But you've got the strong windy easterlies the further south you go, and they are windy and hot if you live on the western side. Perth, you might not be quite as hot as other regions further northwards. That's because your airflow is coming around this high pressure system and just sort of more locally coming into you. But those further north like Carnarvon, that wind starts all the way over in the outback of New South Wales, just heats up and then gets stronger and windier as it exits on that other side. The rain picks up around the northeastern corner of New South Wales and certainly the southeastern corner of Queensland. Windiest weather looks to be mostly in Queensland, but could drop further down into New South Wales here on Wednesday. Only a few more isolated showers further to the north. Could be some thunderstorms in there up to Mackay, but it fades out as you go up to Townsville and Cairns. Let's go through to Thursday. The cyclone is expected to make landfall on Thursday at some point. It's still not 100% clear when that will happen, but you can see windy weather coming through around Brisbane, heavy rain also feeding in around the Brisbane area, and that slides down past Grafton towards Port Macquarie. And you've still got wet weather as far south as Sydney, even further south than that, coming all the way down to about the border of Victoria. Then that wet weather sort of struggles to come up and over the hills and ranges there. So we end up with a windy setup, windy northerlies over the ACT. Coming into Victoria is a windy nor'easter, blowing dry weather right across to South Australia and exiting over there in Western Australia. And the heat sinks back down to Perth and southwards, Bunbury and other places like that. Over in Tasmania, you've got a few showers coming through, but mostly high pressure is in control. And a few coastal showers will brush coastal parts of Victoria, but the pale blue there means it is not likely to eventuate very much, especially with high pressure around you. Going into Friday now, so this powerful high, it is a powerful high, stretches all the way back to Esperance over in Western Australia. It extends all the way out to the South Island of New Zealand, and it balloons all the way up to New Caledonia. So that is a significant area of high pressure. It is the single reason why Cyclone Alfred didn't end up heading off to New Zealand. This got on the way and it's guiding it in. That's why that heavy rain slides further down into New South Wales. And the further down you go, the more the high pressure increases. That decreases the amount of wet weather you get. That's why the colours fade out to that pale blue as you head towards Victoria, and still mostly dry here around Victoria. But we do start to see a few thunderstorms forming in South Australia, coming down to around Ceduna. You'll be happy about that. I know it is extremely dry in South Australia at the moment. And here is the better news. Going into the weekend, something to do with the high pressure moving out and sort of seeing that air pressure drop around parts of Victoria. at the same time as the remnants of Cyclone Alfred still pouring with rain from Gladstone all the way down into parts of New South Wales, north of Sydney though, that is, north of Newcastle. But these thunderstorms are going to bubble up inland in the dry areas like the outback of New South Wales. Sure, it comes with a windy nor'easter, so if you don't get the showers, you get the hot, dry wind instead. But there is some rain relief coming through for you. And on Sunday, fingers crossed this stays this way, because all that leftover humidity from Alfred interacting with some low pressure further to the north, high pressure to the east, daytime heating, all of those things come together to create some really heavy downpours, some thunderstorms, likely severe. Now this at this stage looks for New South Wales, in populated places like Wagga Wagga and other areas going further north, even getting northeast towards places like Orange and Bathurst. All of that wet weather in that area moving around this weekend, bubbling up. Some of it will be moving from A to B, others will bubble up above you. But either way, we do see rain relief, and over in parts of South Australia as well, not to mention a large portion of Queensland and the Northern Territory getting showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. But this rain, certainly around Griffith northwards in New South Wales, that'll be worth keeping an eye on. It could certainly spread into some parts of Victoria and into the ACT, but we can't 100% all lock that in today. So please do join us again on Thursday this week, where we take a closer look at rainfall that is coming through. But here is just a quick glance at the departure from normal. So the areas where you see blue, that is wetter than average. So you're seeing that around parts of South Australia, the southwest corner, only slightly, of Western Australia, New South Wales and the outback, potentially brushing some parts of Victoria, although it is worth noting from Melbourne to Adelaide, most of that area remains drier than average. A little bit of relief into Tasmania. Most of that rain, though, coming in around the border of New South Wales and Queensland, and plenty of showers further to the north. Not necessarily overly heavy, but you've got some wet weather. Our final map here, the 7-day rainfall, it shows you here. This is the zone surrounded by purple. That is the area with the heaviest rain. 300 millimetres or more falling from Maroochydore down to about Port Macquarie. And then you're seeing these heavier falls around other parts of New South Wales, 60, 80 millimetres for you. Parts of South Australia seeing 15 to 30 millimetres or even 40 millimetres through some of those downpours. So it is hit and miss as far as rain relief is concerned, but there is some rain relief on the way over the next 7 days. Hopefully it's not too much of a thing in this one area, because certainly between Brisbane and Port Macquarie, there is a high risk of flooding this week as a result of Cyclone Arthur. That's all for Alfred. There we go. I've been wanting to say Arthur for the last week, believe it or not. It's been stuck in my head. Every time I have to write it down, I always think, don't write Arthur, it's Alfred. Someone reminded me and said, it's Alfred from Batman, if you're forgetting the name. So you can remember that. That's a great reference. That's all from me. Enjoy the rest of your day. We do have a special video out about Cyclone Alfred. You can check that out. Otherwise, we will see you again for our next Australia update on Thursday.